Welcome back to the Metal Voice after, boy, so many years. I'm not sure if you guys remember or not. Heavy Montreal back in 10 years ago, whatever that was, 2015.
2015, yeah.
2015, when you guys launched Venom Inc. and you guys were in the band with Tony. And great to see you guys again. You guys look great.
Yeah, thank you.
I know that there's been some health issues, right, for Tony and for you, Jeff. First of all, Mr. ABADDON, how's your health? How's your health?
It's good. It's never been better, really. It was lymphoma, and we caught it quick. I got tracked very, very well, very quickly, very succinctly, and it's going pretty good. It's going well. Responded to treatment really quickly. So hopefully that's the end of that. At least next time it comes again, I know what to expect. So just get on with it, kick its ass.
Are you cleared of all cancer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm happy. I'm really happy for you.
Me
Okay,
too.
good. It's good. It's good. I'm happy. I know you have a book that was released, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was in Athens on Christmas Day, and I was approached by Andreas, and he said, "Do you want to write a book?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And we had a Venom Legions meeting in July over here. People flying in from all over the world, and Andreas said, "Well, it's Christmas Day. We'll release it in July." And I'm like, "Fucking no chance. No chance. It's not going to be ready by then." And it was. So, that's more to do with his good work than mine.
All right. So I'm happy to hear that.
It turned out well.
Yeah. I see that, Andreas. So you think you did a great job. Jeff? Mr. MANTAS, and how's your health? 2 heart attacks later. So I've seen you 10 years ago, and actually we had interviews afterwards, but since then, 2 heart attacks. I mean, you look good. You look good. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, with me, it's even now still. I mean, the first heart attack was 2018, and I'm very lucky to come back from that. I was clinically dead at the roadside for just over 5 minutes, but they got me back. And as a result of that, I had a double bypass and absolutely fine for 6 years. And then 2024, out of the blue, out of nowhere, I was in the garden and I felt the same kind of pain. It wasn't as intense, but I knew what it was. So I headed up to the house and sat on the sofa, and my partner, Anita, she came in. She was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I said, "I don't know. Let's just see." And it was like, the pain subsided for a while. And then I was like, thank fuck for that. And then 2 minutes later, boom, wallop, that was it, So she obviously made the phone call. There was 2 ambulances came to the house, paramedics and doctors. They wired me up, confirmed it was a heart attack. I was taken back into cardiac intensive care, and then taken back down to Lisbon, yet again, to the heart surgery place. And they did an angiogram, and they discovered that my bypass is on the right-hand side. They discovered that the valves the arteries on the left-hand side were starting to fail. So they put 2 stents in there. And there was a few weeks recovery after that. But, I was speaking to the cardiologist. I had said, it's like since the age of 10, I've been a gym rat. I've trained in the martial arts. I was a professional martial artist for 25 years. I had my own dojo in the city centre for 19 of those years. Diet's always been good. I did smoke cigarettes occasionally. I was never a heavy smoker. I had given up completely. And he just said, "Unfortunately, you are one of those individuals who manufacture massive quantities of LDL cholesterol." And he says, "That is actually what done it." He says, "And, with your family history, father, grandfather, both having heart attacks. So that's been it. It's been genetics."
So, Tony, did you have genetics as well? Did you have this? Did your family have any cancers similar?
Yeah, there was
there's a tie there. There's a tie there, Jeff. Genetics plays a big role.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The only reason Jeff came back from the dead is because the food's so good there.
Well, wait a second. Hold on, Jeff. Did you see a white light? What's the question? Did you see, or a dark light in your case? But did you see any light?
You know what it is? There was absolutely fuck all. I remember that Anita came to the side of the ambulance and they had been piling these nitrates in underneath my tongue and giving me all kinds of injections and things. And she came to the side of the ambulance and the door was open and I was lying on the bed. And I remember this part. She looked at me and she went, "How are you doing, babe? Are you okay?" And I turned and I looked at her and I said, "Actually, the pain's gone." And then my eyes rolled back and that was it. I was dead. And the doctor kicked the door shut. 2 Portuguese women dragged her away. Apparently, obviously, I was gone. I didn't know any of this. But when I came back, that was when all the weird fucking shit happened. There was a lot of fucking strange fucking stuff. And a lot of the stuff that I eventually described to Anita, she was like, "Whoa, that never happened. That didn't happen. And this didn't happen. That didn't happen," you know. And what was seconds for me was a full day. It was a full day of fucking chaos.
I thought you were going to say, right when I was dead, I saw a light, then Cronos appeared.
Oh no, not a fucking. I mean that's the reason I wrote the song for Venom Inc. There's Only Black. That was where that came from. You know, it was like that. Like I say, there was some strange things that did happen, but you know, do you put that down to brain activity or what? Or you know, we don't know. You know, I'm not religious in the slightest. Northeast, southwest, it's all fucking bollocks. Devils, demons, angels, fucking God, the whole lot. It's fucking shite. You know, I mean, man is the God, man is the devil. It's as simple as that. You know, we are the fucking masters of our own destiny. And I like to think that there is something. I like to think that, you know, we are more than just this meat bag which is walking around. You know, because when it goes wrong, you can't do anything about it. And you are up here, you are in here, your spirit is somewhere within this bag of meat. You know, now where does that go when the bag of meat fails?
You know what? I'm going to ask ABADDON this question. I mean, did your religious or spiritual convictions change when you discovered you had cancer?
No, not at all. It wasn't somewhere that I went to or from. I was brought up in a religious background, mainly because of my mother, not so much my dad. But it didn't enter into my head. I was kind of moved very quickly. We have a national health service here, and I was moved very quickly through scans, onto chemotherapy, onto thoughts about surgery, chemotherapy work. Then I went on to radiotherapy, and all of this. I mean, God only knows what it would have cost had I been living somewhere in America or something like that. It would have been horrendous, absolutely horrendous, the level of support that I got. So no, I didn't really get time to start looking inward, as it were. Yeah, I'm very much
you're kind of realizing, oh crap, my time might be up, and suddenly like Jeff is.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I started looking at things like wills. I started looking at things like, you know, I've still got the original drum kit that we recorded black metal on. And it's worth quite a bit of money. I was looking at things like this. I've got 2 very small children. And I'm sort of looking at what do I sign to leave things to them for the future, and you become aware of that side of it. The fact, you know, the fact that, you know, I haven't grown up with insurances and this kind of thing. I don't own bricks and mortar, so I was looking at what I could leave the kids, you know.
Of course, and that's what you got to do. But did you ever feel like, okay, you know what, maybe there's a spiritual side to this all? I know, like Jeff's saying, like it's in your, could be in your head, right? You don't know what's chemistry and not, but you realize you both came to close to an end here. You both of you. Right?
Oh yeah, there's no question. But I was very. Rightly or wrongly, I was very methodical about how I was going to leave things. And I didn't start turning to the church. I didn't start turning to anything particularly soulful or anything like that. I just thought, if that's the end, then that's the end. Just let them do with me as they will, and we'll see where it goes. Right. Because basically, when I first went in, it was a huge lump that came up on my neck, more or less overnight. And when I went to the doctors, they said, my GP just said, look, this isn't how cancer works, so don't worry about it. It's not cancer. It can't be. It doesn't work like this. It grows over time, not overnight. And they sent me for a biopsy, and then I had to go in, and it was a very much darker room that I went into, as in the feelings of the people in the room. And the doctor said, yes, it is cancer. It is cancer, and we're going to try our best to attack it. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things he said was, do you have somebody at home? Are you going home? Well, I was by myself at the time. And I said no, and they were more concerned that I was going to go into this dark place and go home, but I didn't. I was very lucky in that respect.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, switching from the morbid to the more positive, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy you guys are here today and you've got some life left in you. And the great news, Keep It True Festival in 2026, and I think it's in April, correct, Jeff?
That's good,
right. Yeah.
Okay, we got MANTAS and ABADDON doing Venom.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've done something like this in the past, but what is there 3 versions of Venom now? That I'm just trying to understand this. Tell me how this came about.
There isn't, as far as I'm concerned, even with us, you know. I mean, yeah. I'm just going to speak the truth, the absolute truth, right? I'm the founder member. If there's a co-founder, it's ABADDON. Cronos was the last one to join. Everyone knows that, right? I wrote all the early material, blah, 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 right? And at this very moment in time, the way I look at it is there isn't a Venom out there. You know, there's bands out there who are playing Venom material. And that's the honest way that I look at it, right? Now, when this came about, it all came about basically through a mutual friend contacting me and saying, can you ring ABADDON? Right, because there was this thing going on with Cronos, and I must admit, I was like I say, I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh, I don't really want to get involved in all this kind of stuff again. And I mean, you know, ABADDON will tell you, we hadn't spoken since 2017.
Wow.
So anyway, I did contact, and he told me what was going on. And I did have an inkling because I had seen something on the internet where I looked and went, that could cause problems. And sure enough, but anyway, then I spoke to the lawyer, and you know, it was when I seen the claims of the other party, it was like, whoa, this is ridiculous.
Are we talking about this, like the cover, the logo? Are we talking
talking
about the court case?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't say what you could say, but there was a cover issue or a logo issue, right?
Logo issue, yeah.
Intellectual property, where ABADDON in court, I guess, claimed that this was originally done by you, correct? On a drum head, is that it?
That was done by me, yes. All of that was done by me,
yeah.
Again, I don't know. I've not read the court records. All I know is from the information, but go ahead, Jeff. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, I mean, we can talk about that in a while, but that's how the initial contact between myself and ABADDON came about. And then I got a message from the Japanese promoters who I had worked with when I went over to Japan in 2023, and I did a sort of a Venom set with Japanese black metal musicians, and then the next night we did this thing called Dr. Fibes, and I stayed on in Japan for a few days, and we were out one evening having a meal, and the Japanese promotion company said to me, would you consider doing something called Venom Japan, you know, where you come over, you play the Venom songs, and, you know, we use the same musicians. It was Abigail from Psy. It was great. It was really good. And I said, oh, yeah, I'd love to. Well, obviously, 2024 had the second heart attack, couldn't do it, but they got back in touch this year and said, how's your health? Would you like to do it? So I was like, yeah, why not? Are you still there, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Okay.
You can't see me?
Yeah,
you can't see me?
Completely disappeared. Yeah, I can see you.
My connection's good.
That's all right. No problem. So anyway, I know it's going around the houses, but this is how it all happened. And then I said, look, if I'm coming over, what about if Abaddon was to come over, we've sort of kind of reconnected. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, why not, you know? So all that was kind of arranged. I spoke to Abaddon, said, would you like to come to Japan, play a few songs? Yep, great. So flights are booked. We're off on the 27th of November. We play on the 30th, I think it is. And then I got a message from the guys at Keep It True. How's your health? What you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And well, I was like, yeah, great. Yeah, no problem. Got a crazy idea. And I was like, so I messaged straight back and I went, yeah, whatever, Venom reunion. And they went, no, we think we can do it. And I was like, good luck with that, pal. I says, you know, everybody's kicking each other's shins in court at the moment. So it was like, you know, so anyway, I made contact with Cronos through a mutual friend and just said, look, tell him I want to speak to him. There's an offer come in. It'll be a good offer. So let's just talk. Even if nothing comes of it, let's just talk. Nothing. So I was like, right, okay. So the court case thing, then the lawyer spoke to his lawyer and mentioned about the reunion. And what we got back was basically, it's not worth my time. So myself and Abaddon, we says, look, why don't we just do something to celebrate this fucking band? And that's all we're doing. It's a celebration. Yep, it's a celebration of Welcome to Hell. 45 years of that album, you know? And this stupid fucking band has missed every major anniversary in its history. We've never celebrated an anniversary of this band. So I spoke to the guys at Keep It True, Oliver Weinsheimer in particular, the owner of the festival. And I says, right, here's an idea. Why don't we get some special guests, people who have been influenced by the band, all that kind of thing, you know? And he went, great, let's do it. So that's how it all came about. And now we're getting offers from other places to do the same thing. So yeah, I mean, we're going to go out, and if nobody else will do it, we're going to go out and celebrate this band. You know, the thing
what is the band name though? Like, is it Mantas, Abaddon, Venom? Like, what are you guys going to call it?
There's no fucking, as far as I'm concerned, there's no fucking name to it. There's Abaddon's Venom logo, which is his. It's up there.
I saw that.
And then underneath, yep, that's the one. And underneath it, it says Mantas and Abaddon, and then special guests. And that's what we're doing. You know what it is? I know it's not going to be the Pantera thing. I know it's not a fucking Kiss reunion or anything like that. But it's, you know, this band has had, for whatever reason, and it still amazes me to this day, but this band has had so much influence on the metal scene from day one. You know, especially when that album came out, and then black metal. Black metal as a genre is still alive and kicking today. Extreme metal is around, you know, people say because of us. And, you know, and then, you know, every comment I've seen so far, 90% has been really, really positive. Like, you know, great, go for it, guys, all this kind of stuff. Then you get the one, oh, no Cronos, no Venom. It's like, right, okay, listen to me right now. You imagine the most toxic relationship and the most stressful relationship you've ever had in your fucking life, and now go back and invite it back in. And that's what we tried to do. If everybody knew the real reason I left in 1996, you wouldn't even fucking look at that guy again. Right? Now, all these people who say about Cronos and stuff like that, yes, he was a part of the band. I appreciate that. He didn't write all the fucking early material. He didn't found the band. He was the last person to join. The woman who introduced me to him via her best friend is in my house now. And it's like, you know, I would have, you know, Jimmy, if you were having problems with your wife and you put it on the fucking internet, I would never go, oh yeah, well, I know what's going on, because you don't know the personalities of the people involved in it. All you see from the outside is a band. I mean, I love Kiss. I love Judas Priest. Now, there's fucking problems with KK and all the rest of fucking Priest. There's problems with Ace and fucking Gene and Paul and Peter, and, you know, but we don't know what's really gone on, you know? And it's like, yeah, I tell you what, get back in your mom's basement, eat a fucking microwave meal and play your video games. Right? It's like this is ridiculous to comment on people's careers. And that's the way I feel about it. And all I'm saying is that myself and ABADDON, as the two original members of Venom, we're going to go out and we're going to celebrate this band and its music. And that's it. Nothing more.
I got a lot of questions. All right.
Yeah.
I'll let ABADDON weigh in. I know.
Yeah.
You want to say
something? My take on that is very straightforward. If you've got three bands using the word Venom to sell the music, originally Venom were a three-piece. And I don't think, unless you've got two members of that three-piece, you can't call it Venom, because it's Cronos and some other blokes, or it's Dolan and some other blokes. If you've got me and Jeff, you've got 2/3 of the original fucking band.
Yep.
Well, that's as straightforward as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, okay, so you talked about Cronos. You know, it's very toxic in your mind, as you said. It's very difficult. But okay, then there's Tony, right? So you guys, I saw you guys 10 years ago, Venom Inc. You're kind of relaunching the music career of, or music, you're playing the music of Venom, right? With Tony Dolan, Venom Inc. And that fell apart. I mean, what's going on there? I mean, each member sort of... I'm sorry.
My wife got pregnant and we moved to a different place from where her parents were. And she was quite young. We got married when she was 21. She got pregnant and I asked for some time off. I asked Tony and I said, I need to take some time off. And as soon as I was gone, there was a new drummer in. I was never sacked. I was never let go. I didn't do anything. I just wanted to take a month, maybe 2 months off with my wife while she was having the baby. That's all it was. And I never heard from Dolan again, apart from toxic things online.
Okay. Well, what about you, Jeff? I mean, okay, you make your exit because you have your heart condition and it's difficult to go on the road, which is understandable, right? I get it. I mean, did you want back in or?
Nope.
Back to Venom Inc?
No. Nope. It was like, you know, I can remember the last show that I did. And before we go any further, you got to remember that both myself and ABADDON, we've just been in the Royal High Court of Justice, right, where we stood in the witness box and took an oath to tell the truth. And that's what we did. I told the absolute truth, and so did he, under oath. I would go back into that same courtroom and say exactly what I've already said about the Venom Inc. situation, right, because I'm telling the truth. And when I had the second heart attack, it was in April, and I had the last conversation I'd had with Tony Dolan was March 26th. Previous to that, we had done 2 festivals. I think it was one in Crete and one in Poland. Anyway, there was 2 festivals to do, and I said, okay, look, I'll do the festivals. And the reason I was pulling out at that point was because Anita, my partner, had been diagnosed with cancer. Now, that was a misdiagnosis, but we went through 18 months of hell not knowing what the fuck was going on, right? So anyway, I had said there was a second leg of an American tour to do, and I suggested Mike Hickey. I says, look, and we were sitting outside the airport waiting to come home after the second festival. And I said, look, just do the fucking tour, right? Get Mike, do the tour, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's what happened. And from then on, contact was very, very sporadic. No matter what anybody in that camp says, it was very sporadic. And I'm not going to go into all of this bullshit, but 4 times I was on the brink of leaving Venom Inc. because of behavior, right? 4 times. One of those times was when ABADDON was still with us. And I can remember coming home off that particular tour, and Anita said to me, oh, how did it go? I said, I'm fucking done with this. I was like, what? She couldn't understand. And I was like, fuck, I don't know for this. The last time it happened, it was the sound guy in the back of a cab in New York on the way to JFK who persuaded me to stay with the band. I'd fucking had enough. But anyway, I continued. I kept going, kept going. So, like I say, the contact got less and less and less and less, and then they were off doing other things and whatnot. And yes, they said, "Oh, we're going to do this festival. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "No, I'm staying at home with Anita. I'm staying at home." And obviously, the second heart attack, I was scared of flying. I'll admit that. You know, I've never been afraid of traveling, but I thought 37,000 feet up in the air. If this fucking happens again, fuck this, you know.
Scary.
So. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was when I saw a gig advertised on Facebook for Newcastle, our hometown where I founded the band. And I thought, okay, right, okay. So I just got on with what I was doing. And I had, about 18 months previous to that, I had wrote a song and it was called Losing My Faith. And I did the vocals on it and everything, and I did myself a video for it, and I put a 30-second clip of it up on Facebook one night. It says, "Oh, look, new song, blah 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 blah." Tony Dolan, within seconds, had unfriended me, blocked me, and deleted me off everything as soon as I put that up. All right, okay, that's it, done. And there's been no communication since. Speak to Jeremy Kling. The same thing happened with Jeremy. No communication. It was just done, and that was it. I don't even know the actual reasons behind the thing with Jeremy. You know, it happened in Empire with Mark Jackson. You know, so it's like, you know, there's got to be something where, you know, if you cannot. I mean, you know, even ABADDON will agree here. You know, he'll say it. You know, even with me and him, for whatever reason. And sometimes it probably wasn't even our fault that there's been a lot of water under the bridge between me and him. You know, but, you know, at least we've sort of swept that to one side for a while and said, right, okay, let's just celebrate the band for fuck's sake. And that's all I want to do. At the end of the day, it's music, you know, and it's something that we've been doing, you know, like 45 fucking years is a long time, you know, and it's like, you know, I mean, you know, seeing things like, oh, you know, seeing a blabbermouth headline about like, oh, Tony Dolan has no interest in reuniting with ABADDON or MANTAS, you know, it's like, well, when did I say I wanted to go back? I've honestly, you know, Venom Inc. I said this ages ago. They can continue. Go, just go do your thing. It's like, you know, go and play every club on the planet, every stadium on the planet. I don't care. I really, really don't care. I'm not following what you do. I'm not bothered, right? And it's the same with Cronos. It's like, right, if you don't want to be with us and you want to be with your two hired guns, then great. Just get on with it. But particularly with Cronos, I think, yeah, why not? You can go back to doing your thing with those guys, whatever you want to do. Just as ABADDON will go back and do his ABADDON UK gigs. And, you know, I'll probably go back over to Japan and do my thing with the Japanese musicians. I've got 4 recording projects on the go at the minute, so I'll go back and do that as well. But just to celebrate the band, that so, you know, why not?
So tell me about this Keep It True, the guest singer, since there isn't a solid guest singer, right? There isn't. Tell me about ABADDON.
It was something that when me and Jeff started talking, we both had, maybe it was obvious, I don't know, but we both had the same idea. I had a list of names, he had a list of names, Oliver had a list of names. There was quite a few places where those names came together between the 3 of us. Obviously, in this case, a lot of them were German because there's a big German, Venom had a big influence in Germany and Central Europe. So for people to travel in and do a one-off gig and then, you know, on their hometown, in the homeland, at such a huge festival, really, isn't too big a thing to ask. And also, the guys from Sodom, Tom from Sodom, have always said that they were influenced by Venom, that the Venom fans. They wear T-shirts. They always have done. You can find them with the shirts on. You can find Hetfield with the shirts on. You can find Lars with the shirts on. Mustaine maybe not so much these days, but you still find you can still find pictures of these people wearing Venom shirts, and especially Welcome to Hell. And so to put the first, let me say the first of these together and Keep It True, which is it's a massive gateway festival to open the doors for other possibilities. They what they've done is in the past is that they've taken a risk, let's say, every year to just put something together every year, which is special, which is really different. It's not just another band headlining or closing or whatever. It's always a special thing, and it opens doors for other people from other festivals to say, well, if you do it there, would you do it here? Which is how Venom Inc. started. Venom Inc. started as me turning up, being asked to turn up to do 20 to 30 minutes on stage. And then the phone never stopped ringing after that. China, Japan, Australia, North America, South America, everywhere. Well, if you can do it, Keep It True, which is where we first played with Venom Inc., then you can do it here. And we were like, yeah, well, let's go.
I'm trying to find the poster of all the people who are invited. Can you repeat them again? Who's going to be special?
Yeah, from Destruction. There's Mila, potentially from Creator. There's Tom Warrior. Attila from Mayhem. It's a huge, it's a huge thing. And it's about, like Jeff says, it's about a celebration. It's about, the two of us celebrating what Venom was about. We tried, as Jeff said, we tried to include Cronos in this. If you read my book, the book that came out in July, the last chapter is still positive and saying that this could happen, that it could be made to happen. But when we were together, three of us were together in a room, that court of justice, and I saw the person that Jeff had been seeing for years. It was always me and Cronos sharing a room, and we had to share rooms together. Mm-hmm. It was me trying to keep that side of Cronos from showing himself to Jeff, and try to water it down a little bit. But I saw in that room on those couple of days that we were in that, I saw exactly what Jeff had been putting up with for years, all those years, going back all this time. So from the last chapter of the book, which was being positive, to me having seen him and me saying the same as Jeff, no, it's never going to happen. Forget it.
Tom Warrior, I saw some comments there on social media. If Tom Warrior was to sort of take the place of Cronos, that would be explosive, I think. I guess it's up to him. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the thing with any of these people is that there's a very strong mutual respect from us to them, and as much as from them to us. And like I say, the strength of this initial Keep It True, being a German festival, lends itself to those people very nicely. But just as easily, the thing that Jeff does in Japan, and that we're both going to go across and do next year, lends itself to the Japanese bands and the mutual respect between us and them. We've been asked to go to Australia. We've been offered. France is a great festival. There's one in France. There's one in Italy, in Pescara. So, Keep It True is doing what it always does. It's opening doors.
So Keep It True is going to happen with a list, like you said, Schmier and Tom Warrior and others, right? Okay, so now you're going to play, let's say you play Australia. Let's say you come to Canada. Let's say you go to the US. Who's going to sing? Someone's got to be the singer of the band, right? Who would you like?
I think there is a guy, and I'm not saying anything about it until he hits the stage at Keep It True.
Okay, so one of the guys in Keep It True is a possibility. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I would like Tom Warrior. I would like Tom Warrior, but that's just me. So
it's not one of the names I've just given you.
I'm sorry?
It's not one of the names I've just given you. All of those guys are guests. They're going to do one song, two songs, whatever they want to do, and we'll accommodate them.
Okay, but when you bill yourself in Australia, is there a name? Is there any name? Mantas, Abaddon, Venom. It's like
once again, I believe it came from Oliver, but there is a guy who is really, really up there.
Okay,
and
perfect.
He will be the mainstay of any gigs we do, with guests once again adding to play the songs or the parts that they want to play.
Okay. All right, all right. Let's talk about black metal a little bit. All right. The iconic this album started it all, like you mentioned, Jeff, at the beginning of the show. It was the beginning of extreme metals, of thrash metal, speed metal. The Motorhead metal went to a next level, basically. Back in the day, I remember. Recorded in 3 days.
Yep.
People can't even comprehend. But you guys, like Iron Maiden, you probably were well rehearsed, I would think. Or you just come. Did you write the songs in 3 days or half the songs? I know some songs were written.
There was, as we went in there, we went in to do a second set of demos. And Dave Woods, he said, have you guys got enough material for an album? And I mean, a young band hearing the word album, you're not going to say no. So, we said yes. And in reality, we really didn't, And I think the track that was finished off in the studio that I can vividly remember was Welcome to Hell. I had the riffs and Cronos put the lyrics to that one. Songs like Red Light Fever, Angel Dust, 1,000 Days, all that kind of stuff, that they were already there, and it really was a case of one take, wallop, that's it, and the engineer going, oh, do you want to try that again? Nope, fuck off, next, and that was it. That was the way we did it then, and I mean, anybody, and I mean, there's, oh God.
There's,
I don't know how much to say. Yeah.
Welcome to Hell. You have that female voice reading Psalm 23. Whose idea was that?
I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was just all of it, like, the Lord's my shepherd. So we raced downstairs and grabbed Susan, the receptionist, and dragged her upstairs and went, yeah, read that, and that was it.
It's creepy, man. Back in the day, it was really super creepy when that voice comes in.
She didn't know what she was part of because it hadn't been formed yet, not really. So she just came up, read from a page, and then when the album came out, she was like, Christ, that's really fucking creepy.
I mean, like the musicianship, the melody, the thrash element, the death element, we'll call it, the extreme element, but it always had melody, right? The melody was the key.
That's always been the thing with me writing songs. I'll always look for a hook line, a chorus, a melody, because that's where I come from. I come from, Priest, Kiss, even Motorhead and stuff like that, and particularly Gary Moore as well, So there's always going to be melody and things like that in the songs. I mean, when you take bands like today's bands, somebody like Slaughter to Prevail, I mean, fuck me, they are fucking heavy. But how many people join in on the chorus, It's like, and I mean, I do like that band. I like, well, I don't like everything, but it's like, they are fucking insanely heavy. I think sometimes with metal, bands can get caught up in being heavy for the sake of being heavy. And it doesn't give accessibility to anything else. And if that's what they want, then perfect, great. That's it, and you'll stay in your niche. But my thing is always, I've said this a million times. It's like, when we played in Beijing, as Venom Inc, to hear a Chinese audience singing Countess Bathory. Fucking hell, it blows your mind to think of that. The first example I can remember of that is when we did our first international show in Belgium in Popperinge in the Meckerblid Sports Hall. And I was standing on the stage, and one of the stage crew walked past me, and he was singing Somewhere in Time We Were Born, and that's Sons of Satan. My thought immediately, how the fuck does he know that? We had no clue that it had fucking exploded in Europe. Everybody was fucking into it, But
in Canada, it exploded. It exploded in Canada, right? Not in Europe.
Yeah, but to have that and have people, even the little part in Countess Bathory, the dun 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 dun, that part in South America, the fucking audience sings it as well. And that's just the ultimate, for me, it's the ultimate accolade, you know. It's,
But
you know,
you know,
people
I will add
appreciate
to
it.
that. I will add to that. It had melody, but it had
Yes.
groove, and that's Abaddon. The swing, a lot of swing going on, a lot of groove happening, and it's
Yeah,
toe
yeah.
tapping at times, right? And
I
that
think a lot of people
also
don't.
makes it
I think a lot
accessible.
of people don't get that because it's when I listen to Cronos Venom playing stuff, it's very much methodical, four on the floor kind of thing. And I'm thinking, I mean, the guy who plays with Cronos is a way better drummer than me, but he's missed the groove. He's completely missed the groove. In my band in Abaddon, I have a music teacher. He's been teaching for 40 odd years. And when he plays the songs and we're playing stuff, he stops sometimes afterwards and he says, you know, there's a lot of groove in that I didn't think was there as a Venom fan when I first heard you. I didn't think the groove was there because I didn't think you were good enough to be able to do that. And I said, well, that's the natural thing that I bring to it. It's something that I was never taught to do. I would never have known how to learn to do it. But when you listen to other people playing our stuff, you can hear where it's missing.
It's,
Big
you know,
part. Melody and groove is
it
huge.
Yeah, it's what I've always said as well. If you gave any of our songs in those early days, I always use Angel Dust as an example. My father was into the swing era, the big bands, Glenn Miller and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got that sort of horn section, the accent stuff. Angel Dust is down. You know, it's got that in it. And I think subconsciously that just went into my head, you know, and I totally agree with what I was saying when it comes down to that kind of stuff. And I think if you had given Angel Dust or one of our songs to someone like Raven or the Tigers of Pantang, it would have come back squeaky clean, clinical, played really, really well.
Yep.
You know, and you know, I was trying to write the best stuff I could, but you've got to remember, Welcome to Hell was my first attempt at writing songs. I'd never written a song before then. That was it. You know, there was no rewrites or anything like that. Went in, there you go, that's what I've got. And Sunday morning down at Newcastle Dockside, I remember going in all excited this Sunday morning to the rehearsal. This rat-infested shithole that we used to rehearse in. And then we used to pack the gear up and then go to the Sunday market on the quayside. And I went in all excited because I had a new song and it was Witching Hour. You know? But like I say, if you'd given it to any other band, and I was writing as best as I could, and my musical toolbox was a power chord at the first position of the pentatonic scale. And that's all I had. I didn't have anything else. You know, I was a big Status Quo fan, so I knew some blues progressions, rock and roll progressions. And a lot of that stuff, the early Venom stuff, is like that. You know, you've got that typical ADE type of progression or fucking, you know, whatever it is. And then another thing, I bought the album Overkill by Motorhead, and I've realized since that Fast Eddie Clarke had a hell of a lot more influence on my rhythm playing than I ever knew. That down,
groove,
clanging, you know? And we used to play no class, down, no classes, double stops. And all a double stop is the fifth and the octave of a power chord. Now, if you want to examine Venom songs, there's fucking hundreds of double stops in them. Welcome to Hell, Die Hard, Living Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil, fucking Leave Me in Hell, Poison, fucking, they're all double stops. And they're all in A, in the same thing. You know, Sons of Satan is down, right? Cronos wrote that. No classes, down, right? So we all took our influences, lay down your souls to the gods, rock and roll, fall to your knees and repent if you please. You know, Countess Bathory, there's the center section of the Ripper. I couldn't play the Ripper, but that's as close as I got.
It's just amazing how, you know, you're naive, you're inexperienced, but the true spirit of rock and roll comes out that way, right?
That's what happened with Venom. That's how when Jeff's talking about Woodsy at the bottom of the stairs, when we got to the top of the stairs, writing Welcome to Hell and recording Welcome to Hell. But the heart and the soul of the band is right there. It's the same in the artwork. It's not good artwork. It's not, you wouldn't hang it in a museum. but it's lasted all this time, you know, and it was
I don't
from
know,
the
man.
heart.
This is
But
like
that's
some
what I was,
creepy stuff back then,
yeah,
right?
I
It
was
was
walking,
like
I was walking,
iconic.
the three of us were walking in Newcastle on a sunny day,
Mm.
and Jeff said, you know what, I don't want to be called Jeff Dunn. And I said, well, all right. He says, for the purposes of the band, I want to be Jeff MANTAS. And I went, well, I've been thinking about ABADDON, this thing called ABADDON. And Cronos went, I've been thinking about being called. We all said it at exactly the same time. It was going through our heads.
Mm.
At the time, the soul and the balls of the band has always been what's driven us properly.
What was that? So you're this band that nobody knows, and suddenly overnight, everybody or a lot of people in the metal world knew you guys. What was that? How did it happen so fast? Where was it? What was it?
We're doing that in England, and at least half of that you're talking about, the recognition, was hatred. Some of the people that wrote for magazines absolutely fucking hated us. They couldn't stand the fact that we hadn't paid our dues. We hadn't gone and played in the working men's clubs. We hadn't gone and, you know, done all this stuff. We just suddenly went and we played a couple of little gigs, birthday parties, but we suddenly just went to Belgium and headlined the festival. And then we went to New York and we had a band called Metallica opening up for us.
But how did that happen? How did that just, was it the videos that you put out? What was it that sort of, was it radio play?
All of it. It was a mixture of everything, and it was being, part of it was being in the right place at the right time. Part of it was having a manager called Eric Cook, who was learning as the same time as we were about his art, his stage presence, whatever you would want to call it. He was making phone calls and being told to fuck off on a daily basis, but he'd still carry on doing more phone calls and trying again and trying again. I'd come running in with ideas for stage shows. Jeff would come running in with ideas. Conrad would put his part to it. We were so fucking fired up, and it didn't matter if people said they hated us. We just got in a big circle and laughed. We didn't care. It was recognition.
First time I saw you guys on it was a music video. It's like that stage with the smoke, you're lip syncing. That was the first time actually I saw Venom.
I think that's the first time
on TV in Canada, and it was like on a very, I don't know if I call it mainstream, but mainstream enough, local mainstream TV. And you know, just if things are going wild, you go, what the hell's going on here? And I guess that, at least in Canada, I can't speak for the rest of the world.
That was the easiest way to get that image across, the image of the band and the darkness of the band and the size of the stage show and all of that. You know, Jeff's talking about Judas Priest and Motorhead, who were doing gig after gig after gig after gig after gig, and that's just in England. They were continually on the road, these bands, to put their image across and to put their music across. We went in and did a 2-track video and pretty much did the same thing.
Yeah,
we made sure people in Canada could see. We made sure that the Germans got it.
You know what? But at the end of the day, even with your image, even if it was the right day and time, the music, at the end of the day, it was the music. Because without the music, the image means nothing. There are so many bands with so many images and videos that did not last as long as this album is like every metalhead sort of calling card, right? Everybody's got to own this. You have to.
Do you know what it is? I mean, years and years and years ago, with Empire of Evil, we were doing a few shows, and we were in Italy, we were in southern Italy, and then we had a long drive, and we were playing a club. And we arrived at the club and we were playing the following night. Now, there was a new wave of British heavy metal band that I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to tell you the name because I don't want to fucking say anything against them. But I really like this band. I always had liked this band. And the promoters had said, oh, they're playing tonight if you want to go and see them. I was like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know. So we went in the dressing room, met the guys, shook hands. Hey, hello, how are you doing? Everything like that. Right. Now, new wave of British heavy metal band around at the same time of us, and they got a great reception. Absolutely, yeah. Club was packed, got a great reception. But then they played that one song that they had, and the roof came off. Now, for whatever reason, Venom has got a bag full of those songs. Don't ask me why, but there is. There's, people say, it's like I've seen, I know it's probably a bit of a cliche, but I have honestly seen at the front of the stage grown men crying when we've kicked into like Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil. Something like that, you know, or Angel Dust, you know, like some of the really old stuff. It's like there's so many of those songs in our catalogue. It's like, you know, and I don't know what I've done. It's total inexperience, but I've always said, you know, do the best with what you've got. And sometimes, even now when I'm writing songs, sometimes I think it would be nice to get back to that naivety that I had and that inexperience, you know, where I just came up with a riff and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then found another riff, and that was it. Now, you know, with the advent of the digital age, you've got the opportunity to cut, paste, does that work with that? Does that work? And yeah, it's got its place. It has got its place. And I do enjoy it. I'm in this studio every single day. But I think, Bruce Lee once said it, and I go along by this. It's like, in memory of a once fluid man, crammed and distorted by the classical mess. And if you apply that to music, it's like, too much fucking theory or fucking information up here, rather than,
Here's my shirt. Look at my shirt. Here you
go. Gene Simmons said it, he says, I'm not after a guitar player that plays with this. I want a guitar player that plays with those, He said, I'd rather hear the simple A chord that cracks your ribs rather than a fucking million fucking sweeping arpeggios. And I totally agree with that as well. I'm not one of those fucking guys. I've got no desire to be. If I'm going to come in the studio for 8 hours, I want to go out with a song, not a fucking 320 BPM fucking run of a fucking mode that I've never even heard of. And don't get me wrong, all that stuff's very impressive. When I see these people on YouTube and stuff, it's like you look at them and go, fuck me, if I had 10 lifetimes, I couldn't do that. But can you write a song? And one more quick little anecdote on this side of it before you move your next question. I was connected with a guitar company years and years ago, and they had a demonstrator who was incredible. This guy can rip the shit out of the guitar. I mean, Vi, Malmsteen, everything. He is unbelievable. And he was the artist relations guy. And they released a new model. And I seen this video on YouTube. And it was him standing there tearing the crap out of this fucking guitar. I mean, the guitar was hoisting the white flag. It was surrendering, It's like, fucking hell, he's ridiculous, And then along the bottom came a little ticker tape. And it said, can also be used to play a song. And I went, fucking excellent. Yes. It's like, you can play it 1,000,000 miles an hour, but songs move people emotionally, physically. Songs transport you back to wherever. Play me Jump, and I'm back on the Autobahn traveling to Hemline Haller in 1984.
Yeah. Everything, absolutely, man. We all have our own era, especially when you're young, right? You remember that the rest of your life. I used to be good friends with Johnny Zazula, rest in peace.
Oh, John, yeah.
He used to tell me the stories of Venom, and he used to tell me, man, they're rolling dynamite in my kitchen.
Sorry, Johnny.
How the hell we got away with this? They blew his seat. They blew up his seat at the Paramount in New York. I can't even believe it. I didn't get arrested or things like that.
I've still got a photograph outside John Zazula's house with a huge fucking flight case that came by aircraft with us, full of fucking pyrotechnics.
He was telling me, man, like they're rolling dynamite in his kitchen, and he goes, I don't know what these guys were doing. You actually slept in his house, I think. It was you were sleeping. Yeah. You were sleeping in his house.
I set fire to his kitchen ceiling.
He probably told me all these stories, man. I always used to pick his brain, and he's which I
remember when Love blocked the toilet.
Oh yeah. And we shoved Jed in
You guys had this. You guys had this reputation, right? Sort of being the snooty band right? The guys, it was with your image too. I mean, I don't know if it was image or it was who you actually were at the time, but you had this image like, you know, fuck off kind of image, leave us alone. But it worked. It worked. I mean, was that on purpose or was that just how you felt at the time?
I don't think we, yeah, I don't think we particularly thought that way about any bands. I think we came across as that. The weird thing Eric said was that you could go into Trillions, which is a bar in Newcastle, and it'd be full of long hair, denim leather guys, all this kind of thing. So you could walk in there, and if me and Jeff and Conrad were in there, you could tell we were a band. We just looked like a band without trying too hard. I would just have long hair like the next guy at the bar would have. I'd have a black leather jacket on the same as the next guy would. But I looked like I was from a band, and the three of us together, although we didn't go out drinking in Trillions that often together, when we were together in a group of other like-minded people, we looked like a band. We just did. And I think because, again, going back to other bands that were around at the time who were working hard and working, you know, weekend after weekend, seeing us be successful without having to put in all that graft, I think a lot of bands probably saw us as being unapproachable. It wasn't necessarily us doing that. I don't think that was really part of the, you know, part of the makeup, part of the plan. But I just think we did look like we were unapproachable.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke to Mark Gallagher years ago. We were on the same festival. We were at Empire of Evil, and obviously Raven came over. Mark and John were staying at the same hotel. And it was the first time I'd ever really spoken to Mark at length, you know. So we were just sitting having a chat. And Mark said, he says, all the other bands at Neat Records, he says, they were looking at you guys going, why? You know, it's like they're going up and down the country in the back of a van and we're taking a flight over to America, or, you know, we're going to do a European tour and stuff. And they were like, fucking hell, that's shit. Why are they getting all these fucking, you know, what? But as we've already said, right, I think, honestly, right place, right time, world was ready for something different. And I think the universe conspired, looked down into Newcastle and went, well, there's three Geordie idiots. They're down there. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Let's make them the next big thing, you know? Yeah. And there was no master plan. We just did what we did, whatever came naturally, and that was it. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, because of the image, because of the music, you know, because of the size of the shows we were doing in the 80s, I think, yeah, a lot of people looked at us and thought, oh, I'm not even going to try and talk to them, you know? Whereas
you're also in your early 20s, right? You're in your early 20s, and there's a certain back then, a lot of musicians in the early 20s were, I wouldn't say it snooty. I would maybe say that they kind of, and if you're getting a lot of attention, right? Early 20s, the ego starts getting bigger. Did you fall into that trap?
Me personally, I don't think I did, because
I don't think I ever did.
I'm sorry.
No, I think I'm too reserved for that. The nature of my personality naturally is that I'm an introvert. And I know that for a fact. I get peopled out really quick, you know. And you know, when people have seen videos of me on stage and stuff, and then they meet me, and I hardly say two words, and they look at the video. I was watching a video of you on YouTube. I can't put the two together. You know, and, you know, I remember when we played Espastrolade in 1984, huge, big fucking French venue in Paris. The promoter there, Danny from Info Magazine. I can remember walking into that venue and I had a little Nintendo, little game thing, right? I walked in with this little game and I'm playing, and then I heard, ladies and gentlemen, from the very depths of hell. So I folded my game up, gave it to me roadie, he gave us my guitar, ran on, went fucking crazy, did the business, smashed the guitar, came back off, gave the roadie my guitar, he gave me the Nintendo, and I went back and walked out again. And Danny thought I was fucking schizophrenic. You know, but that's just me. You know, people say like, "Oh, I can't come down after a gig. There's so much." I'm fucking straight in the dressing room with a cup of tea, and I'm down like a fucking shot. You know, it's like
ABADDON too. He's more of a reserved fella too. Like I've noticed. Yeah. You know, you're a little more reserved, correct?
Yeah, I don't think we like Jeff said. I don't think we took ourselves too seriously, me and him. You know, I think the thing is with Cronos over the years, he's kind of built this Cronos character around himself, like a shield, as it were. But I don't think me and Jeff ever had to. I don't think. I mean, I'm like Jeff says, he's straight on the tour bus after a gig, and he's got the kettle boiling. I'll stand around doing photographs for days on end. I was at a festival recently in Italy, and I had my thing to be there was a meet and greet, and I had to be there from 12:30 dinner time till 2:30 when the first bands played. But I just stayed at the table, the meet and greet table, like till about 8-9 o'clock that night. It's just, to me, meeting people and taking photographs and all that kind of thing it's an honor. It's like, if that's become my life and I've been lucky enough to have that, that's not a difficult thing for me to do. I'm very happy to meet and hang out with people, and then to be friends with them, to hear how their families are coming on, all this kind of thing. It's the one good side for me of social media.
Yeah.
Because for all its good side and all its black side, I think the one good side for me has been that I've built this extraneous family who I'll happily go on holiday and stay with them. They'll come and stay in my house, and it's just that's what I've taken from being lucky enough to have been in the band.
Absolutely. Did this court case get resolved?
It's in the middle of it.
So we can't talk too much about it, right? Okay.
It was resolved, as in the judge came down with decisions on certain pieces, but what is monetarily to be sorted out yet, that's going to take some time.
So the decision, the intellectual property belongs to you. Is that, or
Yeah,
is that what the decision was? And now the sort of what the decision means in term monetarily, that will be another judgment, correct?
Yes.
But you did win the court case, as the intellectual property did belong to you originally.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I stated that properly, but if I didn't.
I think so. I think it is.
Okay, guys, I want to ask you about this. Probably my last question. Possessed is on the PMRC list. How much of the satanic backlash did you get over the years?
Not that much, to be perfectly honest. There was the biggest thing that happened was more to do with Judas Priest, because they were in a court case in America, so they weren't allowed to talk to the press. So the press came down heavily on the next Satanic band, whatever. Yeah. So we got hit with a lot of questions because we weren't part of the court case. So it wasn't really our input. It was more Judas Priest and what they had to a mess to clear up, as it were. The press
but you're referring to when the boy shot himself, I think. That was but then there was the PMRC where Possessed, the title track was on the, what is it, the 15?
Yeah. Oh, the Filthy 15.
The Filthy 15, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that helped your guys' career at the time.
Oh, God. Do you know what it is? We got captured once by one of these guys, came in a suit and tie with the Venom albums in his hand. And it was like, do you realize you've got backward messages on here? Blah, 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 blah. And I stood up and I went, excuse me, hello. The album's called Welcome to Hell. And our first single was called In League with Satan. How much more fucking blatant do you want it? We don't need to put backward messages on there. When we were doing Primeval, there's a track on there called Black and Other Priests. We had a guitarist in called Al Barnes. So we gave Al Barnes this day, we gave him a piece of paper. We said, go into the vocal booth and read that. So he was like, he looked at the piece of paper, he went, you having a laugh? I went, no, go in, read it. And this was our little back at these people, right? So he read it, we slowed it down, reversed it, put all the effects on, all this kind of stuff, right? Now, if you want to go and fucking sort it out, it says Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. There you go.
Would you ever tour with Striper? A Heaven and Hell tour, right? A Heaven and Hell tour with Striper. Why not? I mean, what the heck?
We're getting the MMA cage with him.
a co-tour. I mean, I think I might have asked Michael Sweet this. Would you ever go with Venom or Merciful Fate? He said yes. I think he said yes. He would. Why not? He said, why not? You know, it'd be cool.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I've honestly, you know, I've just said that. I've got nothing against any band who wants,
as a package of, you know, good and evil kind of thing, right? You know, cool.
Oh God, can you imagine the placards outside the fucking venue?
It's good. Why not? It'd be fun. I think it would be a cool idea. I'm open to it. I don't know.
Oh God!
True story is when I got this album when I was a kid, I felt so guilty. I had to buy a Striper album to make up the balance of.
Redeem yourself.
It's a true story, man. It's a true story. I had to okay, I'm going to hell, but maybe I won't. You know,
yeah.
That's okay. Guys, are you planning any new music as the ABADDON MANTAS Venom group?
No, do you know what it is? I'll answer first, and then I'll let Tony answer. But for me, I would have to say no. You know, there was an interview with Paul Stanley a long time ago, and he said, "Look, you know, I'll never write another Kiss song." He says, "Why? Why do we want? You know, do people want new music from it? It's like, you know, even with you know, like." The Venom Inc. album, RV. Now, I don't know if you know, but I wrote that in its entirety. Right?
It's a great album, actually. It was a pretty good album. I dug
it's the truth, right? And then myself and Tony Dolan, we wrote 6 each for There's Only Black. And yes, when we went out and played new songs, they got a good reception. But as soon as you play black metal, Witch in Hour, Countess Bathory, you know, need I say more? Need I say more? You know, and Jeremy Kling, he said that, you know, when I wasn't touring with them, Jeremy toured with them, did the American tour. And Jeremy actually said that, you know, if there was a curfew or there was a shortage of time, they never cut a new song. They never cut a classic, sorry. It was always one of the new songs that went out. You know, so if you're going to end the concert, what do people want to go away with hearing and singing? There's Only Black or Countess Bathory.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a sad fact. And even Lemmy said, you know, I've wrote more fucking songs than Ace of Spades, you know, and it's like, it's a sad fact, but I'm the same when it comes to Judas Priest. You know, Firepower's a great album, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, you know. Redeemer of Souls, all that, but great stuff. I've been a lifelong Priest fan. It's tattooed on my fucking arm, you know. But if I go and see Priest and they kick into the Ripper, I'll lose my mind. If they play Dissident Aggressor, I'll lose my mind. You know, Kiss can play Tears Are Falling, which is a great 80s power ballad. But if they kick into fucking Strutter, whoa, I'm there. You know, and I think it's the same with us. I've got to be honest. I haven't got any adversity to maybe putting out one new song or sticking something in there, but I don't know, you know, going down the album sort of rabbit hole, it's like, do we need to? You know, it's, I don't know. You know, I can get my rocks off with the Venom stuff. I've got this industrial type thing that I do with the people on the Patreon platform that I've got. I've got a kind of rock metal thing that I do where I'm doing all the vocals, and I've got a softer rock thing with a female vocalist, you know, so I can, you know, and I just love guitar. That's my thing. I love guitar. I love what the guitar can do, any kind of music, you know, I just love guitar. I'm surrounded by the fucking things in here. But you know, I don't think the world needs another Venom album.
All right.
I mean, look, I've got to be honest.
It's not like you have It's not like you have one hit and you're just playing that one hit all the time. You have
That's what I said to you before. You know, there's a bag full of those fucking songs. I mean, you know, ask ABADDON. You know, it's like, you know, it's what do you reckon, Tony? New album?
No.
Simple as that. It's as simple as that.
No. Good night.
I think, Jeff knows what I think. I really hate the digital domain, and I think if me and him got together, 3 people got together in a room for a few days, and we battered it out the way we did with Primeval, the way we did with Walton Hell, we battered it out, and we put all our hearts and souls into an album, we could get back to something similar to Welcome to Hell. I really think we could. But it needs to be 3 blokes in a room with the same mentality, the same soul, the same guts. That for me would work, and I'd do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, I'm not adverse to trying that. I'm not adverse to trying it.
I think we have a consensus here. I think we have a consensus here. You know what it is? As fans, you want new material, but when you go to shows, you want the old stuff, right? That's
it.
That's the dilemma, isn't it? The new stuff is great to promote tours, right? That's what it's become. Like one new song, one new single, promote the tour.
A new song can't become a classic in 45 years if we don't write it.
That's right. 100% right. That's a great way to say it.
Yeah. True.
Guys, I look forward to you guys maybe one day coming to Canada, but Keep It True Festival, people from all around the world go to that. I mean, that's amazing that you guys are going to be doing that. I see some other potential festival dates, right? You're getting a lot of offers. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Tony, do you live in London?
No, I still live in the Northeast.
Okay. All right.
Well,
guys, and I guess you're in Portugal, right, Jeff? Right
now? Yeah. I'm in Portugal. Yeah.
Right, well,
got 30 degrees outside at the moment.
Dang. Wow. I was just in Greece just a few weeks ago.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Hope to see you guys somewhere on tour. All the best. You got the groove, you got the melody, you got the songs. I mean, celebrating. Welcome to Hell. You guys signed this, if you can see this. You guys signed all this. See that?
You signed it.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right. That's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, for being on the show.